There are places on Earth where sunlight reaches the ground in only scattered fragments, where rivers are so vast they create their own weather, and where every breath carries the scent of life endlessly being created and consumed. The deep Amazon is one of those places. It is not merely a rainforest. It is an ancient living engine, a continent-sized organism whose heartbeat can be heard in the crash of distant thunderstorms, whose veins flow through thousands of kilometers of winding rivers, and whose memory stretches back millions of years to a time before humanity had learned to shape stone. From above, the forest appears almost motionless, an endless emerald sea stretching toward every horizon. Yet beneath that tranquil surface lies one of the most complex biological networks ever assembled. Towering emergent trees rise more than 60 meters into humid skies, lifting their crowns above an ocean of green. Below them, countless layers of branches, vines, palms, and shrubs weave together into a labyrinth so dense that much of the forest floor spends its days in perpetual twilight. The Amazon is often called the lungs of the planet, but that description captures only a fraction of its significance. This immense basin stores unimaginable quantities of fresh water, regulates regional climates, and recycles moisture through an endless dance of evaporation and rainfall. Every towering tree releases water vapor through its leaves, sending invisible rivers into the atmosphere that later return as rain hundreds or even thousands of kilometers away. Here, weather is not simply something that happens above the forest. The forest itself helps create it. Each dawn begins long before the sun becomes visible. Warm air rises from saturated soil, while cool night mist drifts silently between ancient trunks. Moisture clings to every surface, coating bark, leaves, mosses, and fallen logs in a shimmering layer of condensation. Even silence seems alive, broken only by the distant rumble of water moving through unseen channels and the occasional crack of a branch surrendering to time. Rain arrives without ceremony. Towering clouds build rapidly in the tropical heat until gravity can no longer hold their burden. Sheets of water descend with astonishing force, striking the canopy like millions of tiny drums. The forest absorbs the impact. Giant leaves funnel torrents toward tangled roots, while moss-covered trunks guide precious freshwater back into streams, already swollen from countless previous storms. The rhythm rarely changes. Heat, evaporation, clouds, rain, renewal. It is a cycle that has repeated for millions of years. Within this endless repetition, evolution has found unlimited opportunity. The Amazon basin covers an area larger than many nations combined, spreading across South America through Brazil, Peru, Colombia, Ecuador, Bolivia, Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname, and French Guiana. Yet despite its immense scale, no two sections are truly alike. Blackwater rivers stained dark by decaying vegetation wind, besides sediment-rich whitewater channels carrying nutrients from the Andes. Seasonal floodplains disappear beneath meters of water before re-emerging months later as fertile forests. Elevated terra firma woodlands remain dry throughout the year, while swamps, oxbow lakes, and hidden lagoons form isolated worlds of their own. Each landscape creates different opportunities. Each opportunity shapes different lives. Nothing here exists in isolation. The towering kapok trees that dominate parts of the canopy owe their success to soils that are, paradoxically, remarkably poor in nutrients. Nearly every available mineral is locked inside living organisms rather than buried underground. Fallen leaves decompose rapidly beneath relentless humidity, their nutrients recycled almost immediately by fungi, insects, bacteria, and hungry roots waiting just beneath the surface. Life survives because death wastes nothing. This efficiency defines the rainforest. Energy is never allowed to linger. Leaves broaden into enormous green panels designed to capture every available photon. Others remain dormant for years, waiting patiently until a giant tree falls and opens a temporary window to the sky. When that moment comes, competition begins instantly. Saplings surge upward. Vines race toward the light. Flowers bloom. Insects arrive. Birds follow. Within weeks, an entirely new community begins assembling around a single fallen giant. Nothing remains empty for long. The rivers mirror this constant transformation. Fed by Andean glaciers and tropical rains, the Amazon River carries more fresh water than any other on Earth. During peak flooding, it expands far beyond its ordinary banks, swallowing entire forests beneath several meters of water. Trees that stood on dry ground become temporary islands for creatures seeking refuge, while fish explore submerged woodlands that only months earlier echoed with footsteps instead of fins. These annual floods are not disasters, they are architects. By transporting sediments, seeds, nutrients, and organisms across enormous distances, the rivers constantly reshape the landscape. Entire channels shift over decades. New islands emerge while others vanish beneath flowing water. Lakes become forests. Forests become rivers once again. The map is never truly finished. Above this shifting world, warm air collides with moisture rising from billions of leaves. Towering thunderheads gather almost daily, releasing spectacular electrical storms that illuminate the horizon with silent flashes long before distant thunder finally rolls across the forest. Lightning ignites occasional fires along exposed edges, but within the rainforest's humid heart, water almost always wins. It is water that defines everything here. Water carved the valleys. Water carried the seeds. Water connects predator and prey long before either knows the other exists. Even the air feels liquid. Humidity wraps itself around every surface, slowing evaporation and allowing delicate organisms to thrive where they would quickly perish elsewhere. Orchids suspend themselves high above the ground, collecting moisture directly from mist. Moss blankets branches in soft green carpets. Tiny droplets gather on spiderwebs before falling silently toward streams hidden below. As daylight slowly strengthens, the forest begins revealing its first movements. A butterfly unfolds damp wings after the night's rain. Leafcutter ants emerge from concealed entrances beneath tangled roots, carrying fragments of fresh vegetation, many times their own weight. They are not gathering food for themselves, but for the fungus that feeds their underground colonies, one of nature's oldest agricultural partnerships. High above, nearly invisible among overlapping leaves, small birds stir within the canopy. Their calls drift through the morning air, each note marking territory, attracting mates, or simply announcing survival after another humid night. Along quiet backwaters, the surface trembles with tiny ripples as schools of juvenile fish leave flooded grasses to search for microscopic food carried by gentle currents. Life has begun to reveal itself, not suddenly, but gradually, carefully, almost as though the forest itself is deciding what secrets it will share. And hidden far deeper within this vast green kingdom, where shadows remain even at midday and silence often precedes violence, the true rulers of the Amazon are already awake. They move unseen through a world built over millions of years, shaped by rivers, rain, darkness, and patience. Here, every path leads toward another hunter, and every hunter exists because an entire living world makes its existence possible. Morning in the deep Amazon is not defined by the rising sun alone. It begins with movement. Moisture lifts from the forest floor in slow waves, wrapping trunks in pale mist before dissolving into the warming air. Every leaf glistens beneath a film of condensed water gathered through the night, and every drop eventually returns to the soil below. The rainforest never truly dries. Water is constantly changing form, flowing from river to cloud, from cloud to leaf, from leaf back to earth, in an uninterrupted cycle that has sustained this ecosystem for millions of years. The foundation of the Amazon is not built upon its famous predators. It begins with sunlight, rain, and plants. Nearly every living thing here depends upon an astonishing process taking place quietly inside countless leaves. Through photosynthesis, the immense canopy transforms sunlight into energy, creating the food that will ultimately nourish insects, fish, reptiles, birds, mammals, fungi, and eventually the great hunters themselves. Yet sunlight is surprisingly rare beneath the upper canopy. More than 90% of incoming light is intercepted by the highest crowns of giant trees. Species such as Brazil nut trees, capox, and towering mahoganies compete fiercely for this privileged position, lifting their branches far above neighboring vegetation. Their leaves form an almost continuous green ceiling, protecting everything beneath from intense tropical heat, while simultaneously creating a world of shadows. Life has adapted to this scarcity. Plants growing below possess unusually broad, dark green leaves capable of capturing even the faintest rays that filter through tiny openings above. Many feature long pointed drip tips, elegant extensions that allow rainwater to slide away quickly, preventing fungi and algae from colonizing the leaf surface. Every shape has been refined through evolution. Every detail reflects survival in a place where moisture is abundant, but light remains precious. Connecting these towering trees is another kingdom entirely. Lianas twist upward like enormous ropes, some reaching lengths of hundreds of meters as they climb toward the canopy without investing energy into thick trunks of their own. Orchids, bromeliads, mosses, lichens, and ferns anchor themselves directly to branches rather than rooting in the soil. They are not parasites. Instead, they harvest moisture from rain, mist, and humid air while collecting tiny amounts of organic debris that accumulate among their roots. Some bromeliads form natural reservoirs by trapping rainwater between their leaves, creating miniature ponds suspended dozens of meters above the forest floor. Entire ecosystems develop inside these tiny pools. Mosquito larvae wriggle through the water alongside microscopic crustaceans. Tree frogs deposit eggs in these protected chambers, where tadpoles develop far from aquatic predators below. Small insects seek refuge among submerged leaves, while bacteria and algae quietly recycle nutrients inside a world no larger than a human hand. One giant tree can support thousands of these miniature habitats simultaneously. The rainforest is a landscape within landscapes. Beneath the canopy, decomposition never pauses. Warm temperatures, combined with extraordinary humidity, create ideal conditions for fungi, bacteria, termites, beetles, and countless other decomposers. Fallen branches soften within weeks. Massive trunks that would endure decades in colder climates gradually collapse into rich organic matter, returning nutrients to an ecosystem where fertile soil is surprisingly scarce. This rapid recycling explains one of the Amazon's greatest paradoxes. Although the forest appears impossibly lush, much of its soil contains relatively few nutrients. Instead, fertility exists inside living organisms themselves. Nutrients pass continuously from plant to animal, from animal to decomposer, and back into growing vegetation. Very little remains unused for long. Nothing is wasted. The first animals to benefit from this abundance are often the smallest. Leaf litter covering the forest floor appears motionless from a distance, yet closer examination reveals astonishing activity. Springtails leap between fragments of decaying vegetation. Mites graze upon microscopic fungi. Millipedes slowly consume decomposing leaves while earthworms tunnel through damp soil, improving aeration and mixing organic matter into deeper layers. These tiny engineers quietly maintain the foundation upon which the entire rainforest depends. Far more conspicuous are the ants. No insects better represent the Amazon's extraordinary productivity than the leafcutter ants. Long columns emerge from hidden underground nests before dawn, marching across fallen logs and weaving through dense undergrowth with remarkable precision. Workers climb shrubs and saplings, slicing perfect crescents from fresh leaves using razor-sharp mandibles. To an observer, it appears they are harvesting food. In reality, the leaves are useless to the ants themselves. Instead, they carry their green cargo underground, where it becomes the growing medium for a specialized fungus cultivated inside vast subterranean chambers. The fungus digests the plant material, producing nutrient-rich structures that feed the colony. This remarkable agricultural partnership evolved tens of millions of years before humans planted their first crops. The colony functions almost like a single organism. Tiny workers tend fungal gardens. Larger workers defend foraging trails. Massive soldiers guard nest entrances against invading predators. Even microorganisms play essential roles, producing antibiotics that protect fungal crops from disease. Success depends entirely upon cooperation. Elsewhere, termites pursue a different strategy. Towering mounds are uncommon within the flooded heart of the Amazon, but hidden colonies thrive inside fallen timber and standing dead trees. Their powerful digestive systems rely upon symbiotic microorganisms capable of breaking down cellulose, one of the planet's most abundant yet chemically resistant compounds. Through this partnership, termites unlock energy stored within wood, transforming fallen forests into nutrients available once again for living plants. Above the forest floor, butterflies begin appearing as patches of sunlight widen beneath the canopy. Among them are the spectacular blue morphos, whose iridescent wings flash brilliant metallic color whenever they catch direct light. Curiously, the blue itself contains no pigment. Instead, microscopic structures on each wing reflect specific wavelengths, producing one of nature's most striking optical illusions. When the butterfly closes its wings, that dazzling blue disappears. The underside resembles dead leaves. Beauty transforms instantly into camouflage. Countless smaller butterflies join them, sipping minerals from damp soil, feeding on rotting fruit, or gathering around animal droppings rich in essential salts. Unlike nectar-feeding species common in temperate regions, many Amazonian butterflies obtain nutrients wherever chemistry offers opportunity. Their lives are brief. Katydids blend perfectly among leaves, despite their enormous size. Stick insects remain almost indistinguishable from twigs, while leaf insects disappear against living foliage through extraordinary mimicry refined over millions of years. Predators search constantly. Remaining unnoticed often determines survival. The rivers awaken alongside the forest. Countless streams converge into creeks, tributaries, and eventually the immense arteries feeding the Amazon River itself. Some waters run dark as tea, stained by tannins released from decomposing vegetation. Others appear milky with sediments, carried from the distant Andes. Each possesses unique chemistry, supporting distinct biological communities. Shallow flooded forests teem with juvenile fish. These seasonal nurseries provide both shelter and abundant food. Fallen fruits, seeds, flowers, insects, and leaves drift into the water, creating an astonishing buffet for omnivorous and herbivorous species. Fish become unexpected gardeners of the rainforest, swallowing fruits whole before dispersing intact seeds kilometers away through digestion. Without fish, many rainforest trees would struggle to reproduce across flooded landscapes. Life above depends upon life below. Schools of small characins shimmer through submerged roots, while armored catfish graze algae from flooded trunks. Electric knifefish navigate muddy water using weak electrical fields rather than vision, sensing obstacles and prey through subtle distortions in self-generated currents. In darkness where eyesight becomes unreliable, electricity provides another way of perceiving the world. Near the surface, insects occasionally lose their footing. A struggling beetle lands upon the water. Within seconds, ripples radiate outward. Tiny fish investigate first. Larger fish remain deeper. Above them, kingfishers watch from overhanging branches. A single mistake sends energy flowing upward through the food web. Every opportunity is shared. Along muddy banks, freshwater turtles emerge briefly, to bask whenever sunlight penetrates the canopy. Their shells absorb warmth before they silently return to cooler water, conserving energy while avoiding prolonged exposure to aerial predators. Nearby, spectacled caimans drift almost motionless beneath floating vegetation. At this stage, they are not yet the dominant hunters they will later become in our journey. Instead, they represent another connection within the growing web of interactions. Young caimans consume insects, crustaceans, amphibians, and small fish. As they mature, their role expands. The ecosystem grows alongside them. Overhead, colorful macaws cross the canopy in bonded pairs, whose partnerships may last decades. Their powerful beaks crack open hard palm nuts beyond the abilities of most other birds. Fragments fall toward the forest floor, feeding rodents and insects below, while occasionally leaving untouched seeds capable of germinating into future forests. Scarlet, blue and yellow, and green-winged macaws are among the Amazon's most recognizable birds, yet their brilliance serves purposes beyond beauty. Strong family bonds, long lifespans, and remarkable intelligence allow them to exploit resources requiring memory, cooperation, and experience accumulated over many years. Elsewhere, flocks of parrots gather along exposed riverbanks where mineral-rich clay becomes an unexpected nutritional resource. The clay helps neutralize toxins contained within certain rainforest seeds and fruits, allowing birds to consume foods that might otherwise prove harmful. Even poison becomes nourishment when evolution provides the right solution. As afternoon storms gather once again over the immense basin, humidity rises toward another daily climax. Clouds build above the canopy, darkening the forest beneath long before rain begins. Animals adjust instinctively. Ant trails become busier. Butterflies seek shelter. Birdsong softens. Fish move deeper into flooded channels. The rainforest seems to pause, not in fear, but in preparation. Because here, every storm is both an ending and a beginning. Every drop of rain replenishes the roots that sustain the forest. Every leaf nourishes unseen decomposers. Every insect becomes another thread in an endlessly expanding web of life. And somewhere within that web, hidden among shadows where patience outweighs speed, another generation of hunters is already waiting for the perfect moment to emerge. The Amazon rarely reveals its hunters all at once. Most remain invisible long before they become dangerous. Their success depends not upon strength alone, but upon disappearing into a world already crowded with colors, shadows, reflections, and movement. Every trunk resembles another trunk. Tiny droplets cling to vines suspended between towering trees, reflecting scattered rays of sunlight that briefly penetrate the canopy. The air feels almost motionless, yet countless lives are already in pursuit of one another. For every creature searching for food, another is searching for it. The first hunters are small enough to escape notice. Orb-weaving spiders stretch intricate webs across narrow gaps between branches, engineering structures capable of stopping insects traveling many times their own speed. Each strand is built for a specific purpose. Some provide strength. Others remain coated in adhesive droplets that trap unsuspecting prey. Vibrations race across the silk almost instantly, allowing the spider to identify whether the disturbance comes from a struggling fly, a falling leaf, or something too large to confront safely. Many spiders never chase. Instead, they allow the forest to deliver food directly to them. Nearby, jumping spiders employ the opposite strategy. Equipped with exceptional vision uncommon among arachnids, they stalk their prey with remarkable precision before launching explosive leaps powered by hydraulic pressure inside their legs. No web is required. Their world depends on calculation, timing, and extraordinary accuracy. The rainforest supports thousands of spider species, each occupying its own ecological niche. Together, they regulate insect populations that might otherwise overwhelm the delicate balance of the forest. On the trunks of giant trees, another silent hunter begins its ascent. The Amazon tree boa moves with deliberate confidence, its muscular body flowing over rough bark almost effortlessly. Unlike the giant constrictors that inhabit rivers and flooded forests, this smaller relative spends much of its life among branches. Heat-sensitive pits along its mouth detect subtle differences in temperature, allowing it to locate warm-blooded prey even in complete darkness. Its camouflage is nearly perfect. Patterns of brown, gray, and cream dissolve against lichen-covered bark until movement becomes the only clue that the snake is present at all. It does not pursue prey over long distances. It waits. A sleeping bird shifts position on a nearby branch. A small rodent pauses to investigate ripening fruit. The strike lasts less than a second. Curved teeth secure the victim, while powerful coils tighten with each breath the prey exhales. Contrary to popular belief, constrictors rarely crush bones. Instead, they interrupt circulation and breathing, ending the struggle quickly before swallowing their meal whole. For days afterward, the snake will not hunt again. Its success depends upon patience rather than frequency. Elsewhere in the canopy, emerald tree boas employ a different form of deception. Their brilliant green coloration blends seamlessly among sunlit leaves, rendering even large individuals astonishingly difficult to detect. Coiled elegantly across horizontal branches, they often remain motionless for hours, their bodies forming living extensions of the vegetation itself. Their ambush sites are carefully chosen. Hidden beneath layers of damp leaves, the fer de lance remains one of the Amazon's most efficient venomous predators. Its broad, triangular head rests perfectly still, while cryptic patterns break apart the outline of its body. To passing rodents, frogs, or ground-dwelling birds, the forest floor appears empty. It is not. When prey enters striking distance, the attack is astonishingly fast. Long, hollow fangs deliver a complex venom that rapidly disrupts tissues and circulation. The snake then retreats, avoiding unnecessary confrontation, while chemical cues guide it toward the weakening animal. This strategy minimizes risk. Even successful predators cannot afford injury. A broken fang or damaged jaw may become fatal in an environment where every meal must be earned. The forest floor hosts countless other reptilian hunters. Among tangled roots, the tegu lizard patrols with deliberate curiosity. Its forked tongue samples invisible chemical traces lingering in the air and on the ground. constantly updating a map of nearby opportunities. Tigers are remarkable generalists, feeding on eggs, insects, fruits, amphibians, reptiles, and small mammals, depending upon seasonal availability. Flexibility becomes an advantage in a landscape where resources change continually. Unlike specialists that depend upon a narrow range of prey, adaptable hunters survive fluctuations more easily. Juvenile caimans also begin their hunting careers far from the top of the food chain. Sheltered within shallow creeks and flooded grasses, they pursue insects, crustaceans, tadpoles, and tiny fish with surprising agility. Their eyes and nostrils rest high upon the head, allowing nearly the entire body to remain concealed beneath the surface. Only faint ripples betray their presence. Many will never reach adulthood. Large fish consume young caimans. Herons spear them. Otters attack them. Even larger caimans become threats. Predators begin life surrounded by predators of their own. The rivers conceal another remarkable specialist. Electric eels navigate waters, where visibility often measures only a few centimeters. Rather than relying primarily on sight, they generate weak electrical pulses that reveal obstacles in nearby animals through distortions in surrounding electric fields. When prey approaches, those pulses become something far more powerful. High-voltage discharges overwhelm muscles and nervous systems almost instantly, temporarily immobilizing fish before they can escape. The eel expends considerable energy with each attack, making precision essential. Electricity becomes a hunting tool, shaped by the darkness of muddy rivers. Above the water, another class of hunters dominates the skies. The black hawk circles patiently over winding channels, scanning for movement below. Fish surfacing too close to open water risk immediate attack. Small reptiles basking along exposed logs must remain vigilant. From hundreds of meters above, subtle movements become visible against otherwise motionless surroundings. Gravity provides the final advantage. One controlled descent ends before most prey recognize danger. Even more dramatic are the Amazon's forest falcons, whose speed is less important than agility. Flying through dense woodland requires extraordinary precision. Branches leave little margin for error, forcing these birds to weave effortlessly between obstacles while pursuing fleeing prey. Their world differs completely from that of hawks soaring over rivers. Every habitat shapes its own hunters. Hidden among flowering trees, toucans appear peaceful as they consume fruits with oversized bills brilliantly colored against dark plumage. Yet fruit alone does not satisfy every nutritional requirement. During breeding season, they opportunistically raid nests, consuming eggs and nestlings whenever opportunities arise. Agile, intelligent, and endlessly curious, it hunts rodents, birds, reptiles, insects, and occasionally monkeys, weakened by illness or injury. Yet it also consumes large quantities of fruit, becoming an important seed disperser throughout its range. Its diet changes with the seasons. Adaptability becomes its greatest weapon. Even the infamous vampire bats occupy only a tiny corner of this immense diversity. Their anticoagulant saliva allows small amounts of blood to flow from sleeping mammals or birds without causing significant harm to healthy hosts. Though often feared, they represent just 3 species among well over 1,000 bat species worldwide. Again, balance outweighs spectacle. Darkness deepens beneath the canopy until vision becomes increasingly unreliable. For many hunters, this is the preferred time. The forest continues breathing through the night. Each successful hunt strengthens one life while ending another. Each failure leaves a predator weaker and prey temporarily fortunate. Yet no hunter rules every corner of this immense wilderness. The Amazon constantly reshapes advantage. Dense vines favor ambush. Open riverbanks reward speed. Flooded forests demand patience. Dark waters reward senses beyond sight. Every adaptation reflects millions of years of natural selection acting upon an ever-changing landscape. And somewhere beyond the tangled rivers and endless canopy, where broad territories intersect and smaller hunters instinctively step aside, larger shadows begin to move. The balance of the rainforest is about to shift, for the true jungle kings are entering the story, and their presence transforms every path, every riverbank, and every heartbeat within the living world they command. By the time the last glow of dawn filters through the upper canopy, the Amazon has already begun making countless decisions. Somewhere, a flowering tree has opened its blossoms a few hours earlier than the season before. Along a flooded bank, fish have followed the first pulse of cooler water drifting downstream from a distant storm. A troop of monkeys has altered its route by only a few hundred meters because one fruiting fig has finally reached its peak. None of these events appear connected, yet each one quietly changes the movements of the rainforest's greatest predators. The deep Amazon has no throne, no single ruler, and no fixed hierarchy. Power shifts with the season, the river level, the density of vegetation, and the availability of prey. The true kings of this forest are not dominant because they overpower everything around them. They endure because they have become perfectly matched to the landscapes that created them. Among them, no animal better embodies the spirit of the rainforest than the jaguar. Unlike the lions of African grasslands or wolves of northern forests, the jaguar rarely announces its presence. It belongs to silence. Massive shoulders support forelimbs capable of dragging prey heavier than itself through dense vegetation. Short, muscular legs provide tremendous acceleration over brief distances. Its broad skull houses one of the strongest bite forces relative to body size among all living cats. Families communicate constantly through whistles, growls, chirps, and explosive snorts that echo across quiet waterways. Each vocalization strengthens coordination during hunting expeditions, where schools of fish attempt to scatter in every direction. Working together, the otters create confusion. Fish fleeing one hunter swim directly toward another. The attack unfolds within seconds. Their diet centers primarily on fish, particularly slow-moving or shallow water species, but they also consume crustaceans, snakes, and occasionally small caimans. Their presence influences fish populations across extensive stretches of river, indirectly shaping aquatic vegetation and nutrient cycling. Healthy rivers support giant otters. Healthy otter populations often indicate healthy rivers. The relationship works both ways. Elsewhere, beneath tangled roots extending into flooded channels, another predator waits, with almost geological patience. The black caiman has survived with surprisingly few changes since ancestors of modern crocodilians first appeared alongside dinosaurs more than 200 million years ago. Evolution refined an already successful design rather than replacing it. Its body remains almost entirely submerged. Only eyes and nostrils break the surface. The rest disappears beneath dark water, stained by tannins from countless decomposing leaves. Unlike mammals, crocodilians regulate body temperature largely through behavior. Morning sunlight becomes essential after cooler nights, allowing muscles to regain maximum performance before hunting begins. The strike, when it comes, is astonishingly sudden. Powerful tail muscles launch the body forward, while jaws lined with conical teeth close around prey with immense force. Crocodilians cannot chew. Instead, they secure their meal before tearing manageable portions free or swallowing smaller prey whole. Far above these waterways, life unfolds in another dimension entirely. The harpy eagle rules the upper canopy. Few birds better represent the hidden grandeur of the Amazon. With wings designed not for endless soaring, but for remarkable maneuverability between towering trees, the harpy eagle navigates one of the most structurally complex environments on Earth. Such adaptations allow the eagle to capture prey that few other birds would attempt: sloths, large monkeys, tree porcupines, young arboreal mammals. Despite its immense strength, hunting remains difficult. The canopy conceals movement, leaves interfere with visibility, branches obstruct flight. Many attacks fail before they begin. Raising a single chick requires extraordinary parental investment, because suitable prey is not always easy to obtain. Slow reproduction reflects confidence in longevity, rather than rapid population growth. A mature forest becomes essential. Without giant nesting trees, future generations cannot exist. As daylight intensifies, movement increases among one of the jaguar's most important prey species. White-lipped peccaries emerge in impressive herds that sometimes number well over 100 individuals. Moving almost continuously through dense forest, they consume fruits, roots, seeds, fungi, and invertebrates, while constantly reshaping the understory. Their influence extends far beyond feeding. Hooves disturb soil, seeds become buried, leaf litter shifts, nutrient cycling accelerates. The herd functions as a moving force of ecological engineering. Safety comes through numbers. Sharp tusks provide defense when escape becomes impossible, but vigilance remains their primary protection. Numerous eyes, ears, and noses detect danger more effectively than isolated individuals ever could. Even so, large herds attract attention. For a jaguar, they represent both opportunity and danger. Healthy adult peccaries can inflict severe injuries. A mistimed attack may leave the predator wounded. Experienced jaguars therefore search for weakness. A young animal separated from the group. An older individual slowed by injury. A momentary lapse in formation. The forest rewards calculation rather than recklessness. Not far away, another giant herbivore browses quietly through flooded clearings. The South American tapir rarely attracts the same attention as the rainforest predators, yet its ecological importance is immense. Feeding upon leaves, aquatic vegetation, fallen fruit, and young shoots, the tapir transports seeds across remarkable distances before depositing them in nutrient-rich droppings. Scientists often describe tapirs as gardeners of the rainforest. Many large-seeded trees depend heavily upon them. Without tapirs, portions of the forest would gradually change. Predators understand this connection instinctively. Where tapirs travel, opportunities eventually follow. As afternoon clouds begin gathering once more, the rainforest settles into another rhythm of anticipation. Monkeys retreat toward familiar sleeping trees. Macaws complete long flights back to communal roosts. Fish shift toward deeper water. The largest predators conserve energy before evening. The harpy eagle watches from high above as the last active monkeys hurry toward the safety of sleeping trees. Across the deep Amazon, invisible paths intersect. Predators and prey draw closer with every passing minute. The balance that has held this living kingdom together for millions of years is about to be tested once again, because in this forest, every evening writes a new story of life and death, and no creature, no matter how powerful, can ever assume it will survive until dawn. Night settles over the Amazon with remarkable speed. One moment the canopy glows beneath the last fragments of golden light. The next, darkness pours through the forest like rising water. Shadows merge until trunks, vines, and branches become indistinguishable. Visibility shrinks to only a few meters. For creatures that rely on sight alone, the rainforest becomes almost impenetrable. But for its hunters, this is when the world becomes clearest. The jungle is never truly silent. Tree frogs begin their rhythmic chorus from hidden pools suspended within bromeliads. Insects produce an endless tapestry of clicks, drones, and whistles that fills every layer of the forest. Leaves drip steadily after the evening rain, each falling droplet masking the quieter sounds of footsteps, wings, and scales. To prey, the darkness hides danger. To predators, it conceals opportunity. Along a narrow riverbank where the floodwaters have begun to recede, a family of capybaras leaves the shelter of dense vegetation. The largest living rodents on Earth spend much of their lives balancing two worlds. Water offers safety from many terrestrial predators, while nearby meadows and forest edges provide the grasses and aquatic plants that sustain them. Tonight, the adults move cautiously. The youngest remain close to the center of the group. Large ears rotate constantly. Sensitive noses sample the humid air. Their greatest defense is awareness. For several minutes, nothing happens. Then one adult freezes. The warning is almost invisible. A slight lift of the head, a pause in chewing. Muscles tighten. Somewhere beyond the curtain of tangled roots, another animal has stopped moving as well. A jaguar. Fallen logs create bottlenecks. Shorelines funnel mammals toward predictable drinking sites. The predator simply occupies the right position. An unsuspecting fish ventures too close. The strike generates little more than a splash. Jaws snap shut. Water closes again. Silence returns. Most aquatic hunts end almost invisibly. Violence in the Amazon is rarely dramatic. It is efficient. Nearby, schools of piranhas patrol flooded channels. Popular culture has transformed these fish into symbols of relentless aggression. Yet reality is considerably more nuanced. Most species feed opportunistically on fruits, seeds, insects, smaller fish, and carrion. They play a vital role as scavengers, removing dead organic matter before disease can spread through aquatic ecosystems. Only under specific circumstances, limited food, confined water, or wounded prey, does their reputation approach reality. Nature favors flexibility over mythology. As midnight approaches, the canopy becomes active once more. A two-toed sloth begins descending toward the forest floor. Its movements appear painfully slow, yet this deliberate pace serves a purpose. Muscles require surprisingly little energy, allowing the animal to survive on leaves that offer relatively poor nutrition. Algae growing within the sloth's fur further disguises its outline, blending perfectly among moss-covered branches. Speed would only attract attention. Stillness becomes camouflage. Even so, no adaptation provides complete protection. High above, a harpy eagle resting near its enormous nest watches the forest beneath with extraordinary eyesight. By day, it would represent one of the sloth's greatest threats. Tonight, darkness offers temporary safety. Predator and prey exchange advantages with the passing hours. A boa coiled silently along the flowering branch has selected this location precisely because pollinators return night after night. Its muscles remain perfectly relaxed. Its tongue samples invisible scent molecules drifting through humid air. The first bat approaches. The second follows. Neither detects the snake. When the strike comes, it lasts less than half a second. The forest rewards anticipation. Every successful ambush begins long before prey arrives. Toward dawn, another predator begins its patrol. Every squeak hidden beneath insect calls. The forest reveals itself through sound long before sight. Nearby, an agouti cautiously emerges from its burrow before sunrise. These medium-sized rodents perform one of the Amazon's most important ecological services. They bury seeds. Every giant must justify its existence through an equally remarkable adaptation. Nowhere is that balance more dramatic than beneath the dark waters of the Amazon. Far below the mirrored surface of a slow-moving tributary, hidden among submerged tree trunks and curtains of drifting vegetation, the world's largest snake waits, the green anaconda. Adults become capable of hunting capybaras, deer, monkeys crossing rivers, large fish, turtles, and occasionally even other crocodilians. Yet their influence extends beyond predation. By controlling populations of large aquatic animals, they help maintain ecological balance throughout flooded forests. Carcasses left after feeding support turtles, fish, insects, vultures, bacteria, and fungi. Even leftovers become valuable resources. No meal benefits only one species. Not far from these great reptiles, another giant moves through the rivers with an entirely different purpose: the Amazonian manatee. Their upper lips function almost like hands, grasping vegetation with remarkable precision before guiding each mouthful toward continuously replacing molars capable of processing abrasive plant material. By trimming aquatic plants, manatees influence water flow, nutrient cycling, and habitat structure for fish and countless smaller organisms. While reptiles dominate rivers, the forest itself supports another remarkable heavyweight: the South American tapir. Often weighing more than 300 kilograms, the tapir may appear awkward at first glance, yet every aspect of its anatomy reflects extraordinary specialization. Perhaps most importantly, the tapir functions as one of the rainforest's greatest seed dispersers. Large fruits swallowed whole may travel kilometers through the digestive tract before seeds emerge intact within nutrient-rich droppings. Scientists frequently describe tapirs as architects of forest regeneration. Monkeys travel through connected canopies. Harpy eagles construct nests large enough to support generations. Even giants create homes for others. The Amazon repeatedly demonstrates the same principle. Size carries responsibility. Larger organisms influence more lives. As afternoon heat builds once again, clouds gather above the basin. Thunder rolls across distant horizons. The rivers swell. The forest prepares for another daily storm. Within this immense landscape, every giant has found its place through millions of years of natural selection. The anaconda commands flooded forests through patience. The black caiman rules deep channels through ancient power. The manatee shapes aquatic vegetation through constant grazing. Many Amazonian trees have evolved alongside these seasonal travelers. Their fruits ripen precisely when floodwaters arrive. The relationship is ancient. The trees provide food. The fish provide transportation. Neither benefits alone. Smaller fish also flourish among flooded roots. The intricate network of submerged vegetation offers shelter from larger predators while providing endless feeding opportunities. Aquatic insects multiply rapidly. Tiny crustaceans colonize submerged surfaces. Elsewhere, giant otters thrive. Rising water dramatically expands available habitat while opening access to previously isolated lakes rich in fish. Family groups explore these temporary waterways with remarkable enthusiasm, communicating constantly as they investigate new territories. Young otters learn quickly. Every flood reshapes familiar landscapes. Their nests, carefully constructed above water, gain additional protection from many terrestrial predators unable to reach them during peak flooding. Nature often transforms vulnerability into opportunity. High above the flooded canopy, scarlet macaws continue searching for fruiting trees. Clouds become less frequent. Rivers begin retreating toward their permanent channels. The transformation unfolds as slowly as it began. Mudflats emerge. Sandbanks reappear. Fresh, exposed ground. Fish retreat from shrinking pools. The dry season has arrived. Dry, however, is a rainfall toll. Much of the Amazon continues receiving substantial, even during its least humid months. Yet compared to the flooding season, the difference is profound enough to reshape every ecological relationship. Waterholes become increasingly valuable. Animals converge upon permanent rivers. Competition intensifies. Predators recognize the pattern immediately. A narrow river crossing that remained insignificant during high water suddenly becomes one of the busiest locations in the forest. Tapirs visit at dusk. Peccaries arrive before dawn. Capybaras graze nearby. Monkeys descend cautiously to drink. Harpy eagles command the upper canopy, yet they share the sky with black hawks, hawk eagles, forest falcons, and numerous smaller raptors. Each occupies a distinct hunting strategy. Some specialize in monkeys. Others pursue reptiles. Some patrol rivers. Army ants provide one of the rainforest's most dramatic examples. Unlike leafcutter ants cultivating fungus beneath the ground, army ants remain almost constantly on the move. Massive columns, containing hundreds of thousands of workers, surge across the forest floor like a living tide. Antbirds have evolved to follow army ant swarms, not to eat the ants themselves, but to capture insects and small animals flushed from hiding by the advancing column. The birds understand the ants. The ants ignore the birds. Neither species consciously cooperates, yet both benefit. Giant otters work together through shallower channels. Herons stand motionless along exposed banks. Kingfishers watch from overhanging branches. River dolphins search open water. Each predator targets slightly different prey or hunts at different depths. Nevertheless, overlap remains inevitable. A school of fish escaping one hunter may swim directly into another. The prey experiences only danger. The ecosystem experiences balance. Sometimes competition becomes visible. Flowers bloom for a single night before withering by dawn. Flooded pools gradually lose oxygen. Temporary streams disappear. Every opportunity carries an expiration date. Animals capable of recognizing these narrow windows gain significant advantages. A giant otter family returns to its den after a successful day of fishing. Millions of interactions continue simultaneously. Competition never truly ends. Every tree. Large protected landscapes allow natural processes to continue. Floods still reshape forests. Predators still establish territories. Migration routes remain open. Genetic diversity continues flowing between populations. The forest functions as it evolved to function. Many remarkable conservation successes have already demonstrated what is possible. In regions where hunting pressure has declined and habitat has remained connected, giant otter populations have recovered from historic declines. No blueprint fully captures its complexity. No laboratory can reproduce millions of years of evolutionary relationships. Its countless interactions emerged through time beyond ordinary comprehension. Each represents an experiment refined across unbroken generations. As evening descends once again, mist rises from winding rivers that continue carrying sediments from the distant ends toward the Atlantic Ocean. Macaws return to towering roost trees. Tapirs leave hidden resting places. The first light of another morning arrives exactly as it has for millions of years. Long before the sun appears above the horizon, mist rises from the Amazon's rivers in slow, ghost-like ribbons. Moisture gathers upon leaves that have weathered countless seasons of rain. everything returns. As daylight slowly spreads across the canopy, the rainforest awakens once more, not because a new day has begun, but because the ancient rhythm has never stopped. Scarlet macaws leave their communal roosts in brilliant flashes of red, blue, and gold, their powerful wings carrying them toward fruiting trees remembered across decades of life. Howler monkeys announce their presence with deep calls that roll through the forest like distant thunder, reminding neighboring troops that invisible boundaries still exist. Leafcutter ants reopen trails, abandoned during the night, continuing harvests that began long before sunrise. River dolphins surface briefly before slipping beneath the tea-colored waters once again. Each movement feels familiar. Each movement is new. No morning in the Amazon is ever identical to the last. The forest remembers. A fortunate few will survive. Centuries from now, those survivors may stand above the forest as towering giants, supporting orchids, bromeliads, insects, birds, monkeys, and generations of creatures not yet born. A single seed becomes a future ecosystem. Growth here is measured not in days. High above them all, a harpy eagle surveys the canopy from a nest built within the arms of an immense emergent tree. Its chick stretches growing wings toward the morning light. Soon it will leave the nest. Its endurance comes from its ability to adapt without losing the relationships that define it. That may be its greatest miracle. As the sun climbs higher, the morning mist finally dissolves. The forest settles into another ordinary day. Some predators will hunt successfully. Others will fail. New life will emerge. Old life will return to the soil. Storms will gather. Rivers will rise. Seeds will drift. Birds will fly. The great cycle continues without applause, without witnesses, and without expectation. Long after today's footprints vanish beneath fresh rain, long after the calls of this morning's macaws fade into memory, long after every generation alive today has become part of the forest that follows, the Amazon will still awaken before dawn. Its rivers will continue carving their ancient paths toward the sea. Its towering trees will still harvest sunlight from the tropical sky.